Not only we have selective outrage, now it's okay for mental illness to be the dominant force of how we deal with things. The mental illness that's everywhere, I think mental illness is controlling the narrative. It's okay for that person to do harm or do wrong to another or to someone because they mentally ill. And you are, as a sane person, you should have some type of compassion for that mentally ill person. Just be the brunt of it. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Mr. Jordan Neely. This individual lost his life on the train in New York. And for some reason, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way I feel, but it's really sad that progressive have this selective outrage. I'm not saying this individual deserved to lose his life, and I'm totally not saying that we shouldn't be outraged that any human being that loses their life over something avoidable. Jordan Neely is not the only person that lost his life in the New York subway. I'm going to share with you a couple of videos. We're going to look at a news article, and we're going to talk about Jordan Neely and why, and we're going to talk about AOC and why do we have this selective outrage? What is the point of it? And to me, like I said in many of my other videos, when it has to do with a white on black type of scenario, that's when this selective outrage rear its ugly head. We don't know all the circumstances. He was harassing people on the train. So when you do that, you never know what the person that you're harassing might do. So, and that's exactly why you should leave people alone. Another thing I want to point out before we get to our video is not only we have selective outrage, now it's okay for mental illness to be the dominant force of how we deal with things. And when I say that, I mean mental illness when we're talking about the mental illness that's everywhere. I think mental illness is controlling the narrative. And it's okay for that person to do wrong because they're mentally ill. And let me repeat that. It's okay for that person to do harm or do wrong to another or to someone because they're mentally ill. And you are, as a sane person, you should have some type of compassion for that mentally ill person. Just be the brunt of it. You shouldn't take matters into your own hands. You should even look the other way when the person is suffering some type of mental illness. And this is not only because of Jordan Neely. This is like part of America's DNA now because it happens with the alphabet community. We're facing some mentally ill, challenged people. And then it's also happened with people that's are the homeless. Hey, if you put in my comments section, oh Chawanne, you act like you did this and this. This subject I know on personally because I have a mentally ill person in my family. And he did what Jordan Neely did. He was harassing people and somebody beat him up. Somebody beat him up so bad that they have to do brain surgery. And now he's a person that he doesn't have short-term memory. You have to tell him, oh, there's the bathroom. And 15 minutes later, he'll come back and say, oh, where's the bathroom? He has to wear diapers in his sleep because he was schizophrenic, just like Jordan Neely. And somebody almost beat his brains out. Maybe it could have been avoided if the guy would have used his better judgment. But hey, in New York, we said defund the police. So now we have our own policing system. Now we got to police ourselves. So I don't have the special training that other people. I'm a Marine. I'm trained to kill or whatever. So my special training is somebody messing with me, or messing with the citizens of the United States. I'm going to step in and do my own policing because we don't have any policing. For us to say, hey, he's totally wrong in the nature of what he did. He's not a trained police officer. He's a Marine and he's a citizen. And like I said, you can't force people to think the same and have the same compassion as you, because they don't. And people are, quite frankly, tired of people's crap. So just imagine going on a New York train every day and have to deal with this kind of stuff. People harassing you and bugging you, saying things like, I want food, I'm ready to die, I'm going to jail today, things like that. So just imagine dealing with that every day. And we don't know where people mental space is at. Now, Jordan Neely was diagnosed schizophrenic. He was diagnosed schizophrenic. So is he, just because he's diagnosed, is he the only one that's allowed to act crazy? And nobody, oh, you're not diagnosed, nothing's wrong with you, so you're not allowed to react if Jordan Neely is approaching you. You just ignore him, or, be the brunt of his, him assaulting you. I'm going to pull up this news article for you guys to take a look at.
Tonight, the Manhattan DA is investigating a disturbing incident that occurred on the New York City subway system. A man died after he was put into a chokehold by another rider on Monday. A warning, the video that I am about to show you is difficult to watch. You can see tan jacket has his arm wrapped around the neck of a man in a white tee who police have since identified as 30-year-old Jordan Neely, and at least two other riders then jump in to subdue Neely. At this time, CNN has not independently confirmed what happened that led to this incident, and we do not know how long Neely was restrained or whether or not he was armed. But witnesses say that Neely was acting erratically when he boarded the train. He did not, however, physically attack anyone, according to that witness. Neely was found unconscious and given first aid. When police arrived, he was then transported to a nearby hospital and was pronounced dead later that day. The medical examiner's office has ruled the incident a homicide due to chokehold. So joining me now is New York City Mayor Eric Adams on this and a number of other topics. Mayor Adams, this is something that is really at front of mind for your city right now. It is about both what is happening in the subways, but also about the death of this 30-year-old. What can you tell us about what led up to this incident? What do you know?
Well, right now it's still ongoing, and really our hearts go out to the family and this terrible incident. And the district attorney, as you stated, the ME, medical examiner's office, just ruled the case, and now it's in the hands of the investigators to determine exactly what happened. There's so many unknowns at this time.
So one of the reasons that this story is really hitting a nerve is because this man appeared to be having mental health issues. This is something that you've talked a lot about, but I want to read to you. This is a response from the comptroller, Brad Lander. He tweeted this: New York City is not Gotham. We must not become a city where mentally ill human can be choked to death by a vigilante without consequence. There's also this from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democratic Congresswoman. She said, Jordan Neely was murdered. What is your response to what they're saying here?
Well, both the Congresswoman and the controller is a citywide leader. And I don't think that's very responsible at the time where we're still investigating the situation. Let's let the DA conduct his investigation with the law enforcement officials. To really interfere with that is not the right thing to do. And I'm going to be responsible and allow them to do their job and allow them to determine exactly what happened here.
Can I just ask you, though,
Yes.
I mean, on the question of vigilantism, what
Mm-hmm.
what do passengers do in situations like that? Is it appropriate to take matters into your own hands?
Each situation is different. And how a passenger, we have so many cases where passengers assist of the riders. And we don't know exactly what happened here until the investigation is thorough. And each situation is different. I was a former transit police officer, and I responded to many jobs where you had a passenger assist someone. And so we cannot just blatantly say what a passenger should or should not do in a situation like that. We should allow the investigation to take its course.
All right.
I commend Eric Adams for saying, kind of staying out of it, let the people do their investigation. before we just jump to conclusions saying, hey, this guy committed a crime and we don't know what was the full extent of the situation. So what, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised he said that because Eric Adams is a real liberal person. Now, AOC, let's get to her tweet because AOC always says something crazy, and I think she's not there all the way mentally because the shit she be saying is like far out there. This is the tweet I wanted to highlight. This says Jordan Neely was murdered. It says, but because Jordan Neely was houseless. Who used the words houseless for homeless? This is what I'm saying when she is not wrapped too tight up there. Because when is this a new term? This must be a progressive term. Houseless. And crying for food. He wasn't crying. He was threatening people to give him some food or he was going to beat them up. Crying for food in the time when the city is raising rents and stripping services to militarize itself while many in power demonize the poor. The murderer gets protected with passive headlines plus no charges. How do you know if this military veteran wasn't poor? He on the subway just like the other guy. So we don't know. Another thing we need to point out is there were 2 other people. Now, I didn't show the whole video. If you want to see the full extent of this video, you need to go subscribe to my Rumble account. It's under Chawanne B. Okay? And that full video of the guy is being put in a chokehold, that full video is on there. So if you're watching it on my YouTube channel, I cut that video out because I didn't want to get my video taken down. But anyway, so 2 other guys was helping to subdue him. But we're just saying this other Marine, which is a white guy, is the criminal. But the 2 other guys, apparently they thought he needed help, so they helped. Apparently the other guy wasn't the only person that thought he needed to be subdued, so they helped him subdue him. And I want to point out the other person that was helping looks like a black man. But nobody's saying nothing about that. This is another tweet. It is appalling how so many people take advantage of the headlines regarding crime for absolute tough on crime, political media, and budgetary gain. But when the public murder happens, that reinforces existing power structure. Those same forces rush to exonerate and look the other way. We shouldn't. What are you talking about? What kind of power? This dude was on the subway just like everybody else. He don't got no power. He just a regular citizen just like everybody else. And Eric Adams did point out, I guess the city controller was saying something about vigilantes and all this stuff. And Eric Adams, like, I don't know what a person would do. I can't say what another person would do if they come in contact. Some citizens will help. Some people will ignore it. We don't know. So I really appreciate he responded in that manner when she asked about a vigilante response. Because you don't know what a person would do unless they were put in that situation. And now they're try to call Eric Adams out because he put on his tweet, I'm assuming, Any loss of life is tragic. There's a lot we don't know about what happened here, so I'm going to refrain from commenting further. However, we do know that there were serious mental issues in play here, which is why our administration has made record investments in providing care to those who need it and getting people off the streets and the subways and out of dangerous situations. And I need all elected officials and advocacy group is to join us prioritizing getting people the care that we need and not just allowing them to languish.